Waiting for a new done hung form every year has to be exactly like Christmas because it just comes so late in the year, but you always know it's going to be amazing. For the third time now, Permansor Terrae, the new form of done hung, is finally here, and after almost 2 years of our first ever preservation being obviously the legendary now Aventurine, I think they made him too strong and they just had to lay off preservation. They had to give you a reason not to pull Aventurine. At last though, a new physical shield will be taking shape for the Starel cast, and I'm here to give you a full guide on how to make him as good as possible so he can be as good as your Aventurine. Subscribe for more guides like these, it helps me out a lot and it helps me make more videos like this. But let's move on to Dun Hung's new form, Permansor Terrae's guide. I'm sure Hycelins, Saridra, and the Fate collab are going to take a toll on your wallet and your jades, if not already. Not to mention that Evernight and Terrae are also arriving very soon. Thankfully though, LootBar is here to save you. They offer you much cheaper and affordable prices, up to 25%, just by using their link down below, which also is a big help to me as well. I'm sure you've heard of them before. They've worked with Maker on Z and Raiden Shogun, kind of the bigger YouTubers that have worked with LootBar, and I'm here to tell you they're doing good because the amount difference is quite big. Like this big. You can basically save a bunch of money just by going to LootBar. We're gonna buy this big boy pack over here to show you an example, of course. Enter your UID and what server your account is in. Click the top up now after you are done. Wait up to 5 minutes after you see this screen, and boom. Money. The top-up bonus is also active on LootBar, and by using my link down below, you will save 10% off of your next purchase with my special coupon, alongside a bunch of other coupons that they offer when you first visit the store. Traces are exactly like the electricity bill of a character. If you don't pay for the electricity, if you don't get the traces, when it gets cut off, for the A2, it increases the Bondmate's attack by 15%, scaling with Terrae's attack every time you use the skill. And for the second part of the A2, this basically makes sure that you don't mess up the Bondmate attack increase. Anytime you use the skill to swap the Bondmate, for example, that attack increase will still be there. A4 advances him forward by 40% once he enters the battle, and additionally, every time the Bondmate uses any type of attack, Dun Hung will gain 6 energy and the Soul Dragon will advance by 15%. This is very good to get the Soul Dragon going, and this also helps him charge up the ultimate a lot faster because realistically he will not be attacking much on his own, so this energy gain is kind of a necessity to him. Okay, for the A6, stay with me, okay? I'm gonna say a lot of words. A really small shield of 5% scaling plus 100 attack will be provided for the lowest shielded unit on the field, and when the enhanced Soul Dragon takes action, it will further deal an additional instance of additional damage of the corresponding type equal to 40% of the Bondmate attack to the enemy with the highest current HP. You don't like the big words? Think of it as a Robin ult mechanic or Triby's additional attack. It will work exactly the same. These traces, in my opinion, just give him a nice little roll jump because he's not just a plain support that only shields. He can kind of have the ability to become a harmony unit with the A2, and the A6 helps him a little better to deal more damage alongside buffing you with the shields. For the kit, I cannot really go into much detail because there isn't as much as you think, but I will do my best. For the skill, it applies to one of your allies the Bondmate effect, and it gives all of your allies a shield equal to 20% of his attack plus another 400 for 3 full turns. This shield, of course, just like Aventurine, can stack up multiple times, and of course, like Aventurine, this has a maximum ceiling of 300% strength. And of course, as I said before, the Bondmate can only be applied to one of your allies. You cannot have 2 allies with the Bondmate effect, so choose wisely and choose your main DPS. Let's take a look though at Mr. Soul Dragon, since he's obviously a star of the kit as well. Once a Bondmate ally appears on the field, the Soul Dragon will be accompanying him, and he will also now be considered a summon user as well. As for the dragon, it has a 165% base speed, and when it takes action, it will dispel 1 debuff from all of your allies for completely free, and will additionally provide a shield that is half of the skill of Terrae's, with a 10% shield plus 200 instead of the 20% 400. Lastly, both Terrae and the Soul Dragon share the exact same shield, so the 300% is obviously shared by both of them, so both of them can fill it up to 300%. And of course, if Terrae or the Bondmate dies, the Soul Dragon will obviously go away. And now that we have cleared the main duo, his ultimate deals a bunch of damage to all enemies on field and provides a similar shield to the skill for, of course, 3 turns. Additionally, for the ultimate, it makes the Soul Dragon enhanced, and every enhanced action it takes, an additional instance of damage, scaling obviously with Terrae's attack, will be dealt to every enemy on field. For the enhancement, by the way, this will be lasting you 2 Soul Dragon turns, so once the Soul Dragon plays twice with it being enhanced, the enhancement will be going away, and you will need to ult again to regain it. To end the kit off with a very anticlimactic end, the technique dazes enemies hit for 10 seconds, and when you enter the battle with the active character after you have pressed the technique, the Bondmate will now be crowned to the active character, and the skill of Terrae will also be used alongside this, not consuming obviously any skill points. For the ability prio, we have very little to recommend, mostly because it's not a memo sprite unit. All around, the only one I can see that makes the difference being leveled first would be the ultimate. It deals damage, it gives shields, and it also enhances the damage of the Soul Dragon, so I'd give top priority to the ultimate. The talent is a little bit better than the skill, because for the skill, you have to take a turn on Terrae, and Terrae cannot really advance himself forward in any way, but the Soul Dragon can do that very well, unlike the Soul Dragon, which can have advanced turns by the Bondmate attacking. So go with the ultimate, talent, and finally the skill. Okay class, quick quiz. Which relic set is the best suited for the new character Terrae? Yes, you in the back. The night set? No! Wrong! The correct answer is actually a new set coming to Storial called the Self-Enshrouded Recluse. Anyone in the class know what? No, no one knows. It's brand new. It increases shield effect by 10%, and at the 4-piece, it actually goes up to a 22% increase in total, with an additional crit damage increase of 15% to whatever ally has the shield on them, which for our case, you need to have Terrae's shields just so you can get the 15% crit damage buff. This is a very solid perfect set for him, because not only does it increase the shield effect, meaning that this doesn't scale with any attacks or any defenses, this is just a pure shield increase that the allies will be gaining. And of course, the 15% crit damage is a little buff, but you have to realize that he is a pure preservation unit, and the fact that he can give you a little small buff can actually go the extra mile. As for other relic sets, we actually have nothing to help him out exactly other than the champion set, which gives him physical bonus and 25% attack increase. And technically, if you want to have a more attack-based Terrae, you could actually use the 4-piece Valor, just because it gives you a bunch of attack, and it also helps you deal a bunch of ultimate damage after you trigger a follow-up attack. If the shields are enough, then you can look into getting the Valor set. Okay class, now pay attention. This next part, while I explain it, there will be a lot of planners mentioned, so you need to be taking notes, okay? For the planners, we start from the Space Sealing Station, because obviously it gives a ton of attack, which obviously means that his shields will be much stronger, and his damage will also be much higher. Salsodo is going to be one of those offensive options if you like him a little more aggressive. In my opinion, you should use something like Broken Keel, for example. It gives him effect res, and it gives your team a little more crit damage. Moving over to the stats you want on him, I believe attack percent on the body will be fine. You kind of want him, again, not as a damage dealer, you just want him with the really good shields. But if you have enough attack, or you don't really want to play him as a support, then crit body is going to be better for a playstyle like that. Speed for your boots, attack percent on the sphere, and finally energy regen on the rope. And of course, since we talked a lot here, here's a final overview of his build. I'll give you a second here to pause, in which we're going to be moving into the light cones. You like light cones? Well, so does Dunham. His signature light cone, though worlds apart, is of course going to be insanely broken on him, with actually no other light cones coming in close to beating the value for him. You can run another light cone, and it's going to give you a pretty similar effect, but it's not going to give you that value that you get from a signature light cone. Anyways, it gives him 64% attack, and additionally, every ultimate he uses, he will be restoring 10% HP to all of the allies scaling with his his attack, of course, and he will be restoring an additional 10% to the lowest HP ally on the field. So for example, if everyone is at 4000 health but March 7th is of course at 2 HP, then she will be getting healed 20% instead of 10%. You thought we were done? He also grants Redoubt on your entire team, and this will be lasting for 3 turns, making your teammates deal 24% more damage, and this will be increasing to a 36% increase if they are a summon user. Topaz and Jingyuan are, for example, the summon users, while the Memo Sprite users are somebody like Castoris or the Remembrance MC. One thing to note also that I don't know if I mentioned in the kit, if you do get this light cone, and you obviously will be playing Terrae in a team without a summoner, anyone that has the Bondmate, the dragon thing ability, will be considered a summon user, so this 36% will actually be applying onto the Bondmate as well. So technically, someone like Castoris can technically become a summon user, or somebody like Mighty. I've been praising the light cone enough though, and unfortunately we can't really praise anything else. For paid options or gacha options, we have Journey Forever Peaceful from the Battle Pass, and it gives good buffs, but this is obviously behind a Battle Pass, so I don't think you want to go for that. If you do spend money though, this will be a fantastic purchase. Another one that is locked behind the gacha system is obviously Day 1 of My New Life, which falls into this unfortunate category. Luckily for us though, the one thing that does not fall into this category and falls right opposite on the free-to-play side is the light cone texture of memories in the Herda shop. God bless Herda once again. Texture is going to be an amazing free-to-play light cone. As you can see, it gives him a bunch of effect res, and it gives him this cool mechanic of gaining a shield if he doesn't have one and he gets attacked, and taking less damage if he is already shielded and is being attacked. As for the other ones, Day 1 of My New Life is a little bit worse than Texture in my opinion, and as far as I can think of, Landau's Choice actually kind of can do the trick as well. He just takes less damage, it's not really anything crazy, but since other light cones in Preservation give defense, this one actually does apply to Terrae as well. If you got any of that, it's okay, just go for S5 Texture and then you'll be fine. Okay, hear me out on the teams here. I think I kinda cooked. For general units that will be working very well with Terrae will be any unit that scales off of attack percent, and especially units that like being shielded. Examples of units that don't like being shielded are obviously Blade, Jingliu, Mighty, and of course any other person that has any kind of mechanic with their HP going up and down. As for units that do work with him and obviously like being shielded are Saber, Finon, Archer, Fei Xiao, which is a big one, Topaz, Thurda, Jingyuan, Dr. Ratio, Kafka, High Sealance, and many more good examples. I put quite a lot of the names here, but I'm sure you can see why. Even DOT units will find amazing use from this guy because of the attack increase from the Bondmate, and for example, Fei Xiao, Topaz, and Jingyuan will obviously get their very much needed synergies that they need, especially for a team that does include Topaz as the sub DPS, because not only is she gaining the 36%, somebody else also is. For some examples, so you have somewhat of an idea, the first team I'm going to show you will be a standard team comp, you'll see this everywhere, with a main DPS like Saber for example, Terrae as the sustain unit, a Harmony unit that is the best case scenario Sunday, but Bronya and Sparkle can very well replace him in teams like this. And finally, for the last slot, you can technically go for another Harmony unit, but in my opinion, I would go for my girl Tribi. This is my kind of go-to Saber team with a Tribi Sunday kind of combo, because these are fantastic and really broken units at the current moment. You can play around with whatever Harmony units you have, I'm just telling you what my best options are and what I currently use. For the second team comp, we follow a follow-up attack focus team with the Fei Xiao, Terrae, Hunt March, and finally a dual DPS buffer to make this team shine. Here, for example, Hunt March can very well be replaced by Topaz or even Moza if you have him, because they do increase the follow-up attack damage enemies take. Personally, for me, I found that Hunt March does a lot more than Moza, and I currently don't have Topaz, and let's be real, Fei Xiao is not really being used that much. Lastly, in the basic team comps, I would put Terrae in a DOT team here, with Kafka of course, or High Sealance as the main DPS, and then we have Black Swan with again a dual DPS buffer. Black Swan, if you put her with High Sealance, will have an incredible combo, but if you are playing with Kafka, or if you just don't have Black Swan, she can very well be replaced by Sempo or Gun Kunai Fen, but make sure to have somebody that will be the main focus of your DPS, and then you can build around this main DPS unit. Polling for Eidolons, in my opinion, is obviously crazy work for anyone, so I will not be going too much into detail in this video, just because I don't believe as much in the Eidolons. I will just give you a good stopping point, and I'll show you and explain what each copy does. For his E1, it recovers a skill point every ultimate you use, and the Bondmate's all-type resistance penetration will be increasing by 18% for 3 entire turns. Very solid, very standard buff, and that skill point will help you out in a lot of situations, just because you might want to be skilling more in certain teams. E2 will be giving you an additional 2 enhancements from the ultimate, and the Soul Dragon will now take insta action when you ult. On top of this, the additional damage that is dealt by the Bondmate during the enhanced Soul Dragon will now be twice as strong, along with the shield effect. I'm sure you understand what that means. If somebody does 100 damage, now they will do 200, and if the shield is 100, will now be 200. With a very big reminder that this is for the enhanced dragon state, not the regular one, so don't get it mixed up. E4 makes the Bondmate take 20% less damage, and lastly for the E6, when there is a Bondmate active on the field, all enemies will take 20% more damage, and the Bondmate will now be ignoring 12% of the defense when dealing any type of damage. As a little cherry on top for this E6, when Terrae uses their ultimate, the Bondmate will deal an additional instance of damage that obviously scales incredibly high to their attack, and every enemy on field will be impacted, meaning this instance will actually reach all 5 enemies if they are present on the field. As for a good stopping point on him, in my opinion, he is fine as is. I'm not telling you to pull any of his Eidolons at all. I think he's fantastic at E0, but if I had to give you something to work with, I would be going for the E2. No further details. The E4 basically is not worth it, and E6 will take too much money. It is a little disturbing that we are very close to a full done hung team. I think it's just a little. Thank you so much for watching my guide. Subscribe if I helped you out. And of course, feel free to comment your suggestions or what you think of Terrae in general. Have a great day or night and take care.